Hey, what's up, everybody? Video 44 coming at you with another video. All right, so before we even get started, sending condolences to the family of Brandon Clarke of the Memphis Grizzlies, who passed away at 29 years of age. Man, I don't know what happened. He's still in the prime of his career. Injuries have kind of robbed him of a lot of good time out there. But one thing I know about Brandon Clarke is he's a fantastic offensive rebounder. One of the better offensive rebounders, a player that you hear people compare others to try to understand what type of energy, stretch, power forward, athlete type player. He's made some explosive dunks happen in his career. Just a great dirty work guy. Somebody I would have loved to have on my team. You know what I mean? So just a really sad situation there. I don't know what happened. I know he got into a little trouble with the law about a month ago. I don't know if this circumstance has anything to do with that at all. No information has been released other than just the fact that he passed. So that's what I want to send condolences to his family, to his fans, to his loved ones, teammates, everybody that cared about Brandon Clarke, man. I've watched him play a lot of ball as a Laker fan. We've seen plenty of Grizzlies ball over the years, and he's been a mainstay there playing his entire career with that team, if I'm not mistaken. Just a ferocious rebounder and switchable player. I didn't know enough of him as a man. Couldn't really speak to him as a person or a character. I have no idea. But I know he had his own foundation in Memphis, so he was helping the community a lot. And so I'm pretty sure, that stands for a lot when considering the character of the man. But yeah, man, that's the first thing I wanted to say. I didn't want to make an entire video on that, but anytime someone loses their life in our NBA community, especially young guys that are playing, guys that haven't even made 30 yet, you want to acknowledge that and you want to say condolences for sure. So that was tough, man. On the, off the strength of not only just the reality of what this is, but also I heard his name this morning. I was watching highlights on a player that they compared to him. That was one of the player comps to Trevon Brazile. And that's who I'll be doing homework on further today, and then bringing new information on that player tomorrow. But like one of the most important comps, they had said that this morning. And so that was just kind of strange how that played out in my own personal little world. But again, rest in peace to him for certain. Brandon Clarke, gone, but not forgotten. All right, so now we move on to much less important conversation, and that is just the state of my Laker team. That's what I wanted to make a video on. I really think that the Lakers are in a decent spot when you consider the fact that most of the players that we have as free agents want to come back. They want to be here. We have Luka locked in for several years, which is obviously our main guy. And I just think most people felt like if we had a little more talent on the roster in general, maybe our season could have went a little differently. I think you could argue you probably still lose in the second round if you run into this team. But maybe you have a better shot at making it difficult on them, and who knows what can happen when you extend the series. Unfortunately, we were not able to do that. We didn't win the game, but in the fourth game of the installment, we showed some heart. We kept it close. We had leads in 3 of the 4 games, if I'm not mistaken, maybe all 4 of the games. We had to lead at one point or another. So if we would have had sustainable depth, an answer for McCain, an answer for Mitchell, maybe we would have given ourselves a shot. Obviously, with a healthy Luka, that changes the calculus entirely, of course. But for me, it's not even about Luka. It's more so about the rest of the roster and how can we offset the depth coming at you when you consider these teams that are built like the Thunder. Teams will be reacting to the Thunder just like we expect we will have to. Everybody's going to look to get deep because that's just where it's at now. And so, that's what I think is up there to pay attention to. Now, free agency's ahead. And if I'm being honest with you, I was not overly impressed with the non-Laker free agency names. Guys that we could potentially get, I wasn't overly excited. And I'd like to pull that up if I can and get a look at some of these names. But cut and dry, it's just kind of like, I don't know if we can get an answer for all of our problems. Put it like that. All of our problems may not necessarily be found in this year's crop of free agents. So we may have to play the draft. You know, that's my thing. Get into the second round. I see players that can help us with our problems in the draft. Guys who are in the second round who've been in college from 3 and 4 years, who, if you get 2 or 3 of them dudes, you can fill your roster. And because they're older rookies, they should be more likely to be ready. And so that would be my way of approaching this thing. I want to keep my 25 because I'm a greedy basketball fan who wants a first rounder. But I think you can legitimately find 2 or 3 guys in the second round that could probably fill your roster with the depth and the qualities necessary to compete. Now, will they be of caliber of OKC's players? No. But what you'll find is you'll at least be able to find the energetic 5 guy that can defend multiple positions. You got the stretch guy that can, give you 3-point looks. You got the athletic wing guy that's down there. Like, you can find these players in the second round, and as many second round picks that have been traded on draft day over the last 2 and 3 years for little to nothing. I think it would make sense for the Lakers to try once again to work their magic and get multiple second round picks. Does that mean trading out of 25 down so that you can get like 3 and 4 of them? I don't think that's what I would prefer. But when I start looking at some of those guys, especially in this particular draft, I realize that if this were last year, some of them dudes would be going 25. Some of the guys that are going 30 and 40 in the second round, they would have gone in the first round last year in a weaker draft. So that's probably what I would want to do, because I think free agency, I think what it really comes down to, they have players out there that are pretty good, but they're going to want to get a lot of money. And I personally am just not overly excited about paying any of these people what they believe they're worth. Now, that's not my money to spend, obviously. But just looking at how you're trying to build your team and your cap and stuff like that, if guys are trying to get a payday, with all due respect, you got to be able to bring something to the table that makes a lot of sense for me to get behind it, man. You got guys that are a little older who should probably be moving on to booth jobs with TNT or what have you, or now we got NBC again. Whoever. They need to be in the booth next to Blake Griffin and Dirk Nowitzki for real. Like, some of these guys, I just don't think there's much left. Now, I could be wrong, but... And then you look at the needs of the Los Angeles Lakers. Like, okay, I'm looking at names. C.J. McCollum. Does he fit a need? Absolutely not. What is he going to want? The paydays. Near the end of his career. 34 years of age. He going to want to get paid. These are all unrestricted free agents. I'm just going to name them off. LeBron James, of course, we want to re-sign the King. Chris Middleton, time to join the booth. Porzingis, 30 years of age, but you can't count him to pay more than 30 games. He's not an answer for my problems. Tobias Harris, he's having a fantastic playoffs, but I'm not looking to add Tobias Harris. Anthony Simons, he's a guard. I would love to have Anthony Simons in a nutshell, but for what we got going on, no. John Collins, not the answer for my problems, but he's pretty good, especially if he's given the right role. Vucevic, time to join the booth, buddy. Norman Powell coming off an all-star season. That would be a great pickup for the Lakers. I don't know if you can pry him away from Miami, but he's going to be looking to get paid. I would love to get Norman Powell as a backup instant scorer. He would have helped us a lot trying to offset some of the stuff that was coming at us. You can get Norman Powell, make him your sixth man. You feel great about that. Harrison Barnes, nope, time to join his booth, buddy. Young Bull, Colin Sexton's a free agent. That's an interesting piece. As a backup point guard, you know what he can do. I think Luka needs a legitimate backup who can play, at a high enough level. I don't think Marcus Smart is that piece, although I definitely want to bring Marcus back. I don't trust his decision-making. I need him to do the defensive things, be a connective piece, making passes here and there. But once we start talking about point guard decision-making, that's not his strength, man. And I don't need him to focus on the offensive end as much as I need him to focus on the defensive end. I need him back, but I want a young bull next to him. So Colin Sexton would be somebody I would be interested in, but depends on what price. Because if we're paying him what he believes he deserves, he probably ain't going to be able to slap enough next to him to make sense. But I do think the Lakers should value other positions above bringing a point guard in for certain. But like when we're talking about free agents that I would actually be excited about bringing in, just in a nutshell. Colin Sexton is definitely somebody I want on this team. Yusef Nurkic, we need centers, man. 31 years of age, hasn't played much in the last couple of years. He's not the answer I would go to. At a vet minimum, I think he would be a great acquisition. But if he's talking about making the type of money he's used to making, I'm not paying him that. No, sir. I'd rather have a rookie contract on a second-round player playing that same position. If I'm being completely honest with you. So, nah, not for me. Zach Collins, I've been speaking about Zach Collins for years, but I don't expect for him to be the answer. He's like the third-string center guy who can play a little better than that. But if you're asking him to be the starter, you're not going to get from him what you deserve. But I would love to bring him in as an enforcer, as somebody who can do nasty work, as somebody who's going to piss the other team off. He going to get under Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's skin. He going to get into a fight with somebody just to fix, the overall morale of our circumstance when we're getting punked by teams that are stronger than us. So I've always been a Zach Collins fan in that regard. He's made me hate him as an opponent, but I know better than to think that I would hate him as a player on my team. That type of personality most teams should want around just to get under the skin of the other guy. You know what I mean? So that's why I bring in a Zach Collins. Some of that stuff that kind of goes on around us with the trolling of certain players, Zach Collins going to hit somebody in the throat. And that's exactly what I bring him in for, believe it or not. Rui Hachimura, I think he's earned his money, man. He should be re-signing with us if we can get him, but I think he may have outplayed our threshold for paying him. But I don't want to be tasked with replacing him because you're not going to. He's one of the most efficient players in basketball. Flawed as hell in many different areas, but if you define his roster spot properly, which we should be able to do if we bring ourselves a wing, stop asking him to play the damn three all the time. If you redefine his role to better suit what he does, you can play up his value from here. Rui's only going to get better. But he does have certain mainstay deficiencies that must be respected. And so if we're not going to be able to put around him what makes him look good, we probably shouldn't be spending too much money on him with the deficiencies that he has. But in a nutshell, I'm definitely on board with bringing him back. I think he's elevated his game in the playoffs enough years in a row and has been such a fantastic executing scoring player, which is a deficiency of the Lakers without him, that I think it's a no-brainer that you bring back your most efficient shooter. It's a no-brainer. You got to bring him back. Within reason, though. Within reason. But, like, $17 million seems reasonable to me for what it is he just showed us. I think that's what he was making. I think he probably wants an upgrade in pay. Once he starts talking about 25, 26, 30 million, that's when I'm like, all right, bro, we out of here. But I think all things considered, you should respect that Rui Hachimura is a piece that you need, so long as you respect all that comes with it. Kevin Huerter, nope, no. I've seen enough from Kevin Huerter to know what he can do on the positive side of things, but I've also seen enough from Kevin Huerter to know that he disappears on a roster. Vet minimum for sure, but I'm not expecting him to provide me the type of depth I need. He's just another guy getting run past. I'm cool. Mitchell Robinson, definitely interested in him, but I respect that he's going to miss like 60 games a season, most seasons. He's been healthy last year. I don't expect him to be healthy going forward. But just talking about bringing in somebody that can fill the roster spot, block shots. We should have drafted him. We know we should have drafted him. He was one of the names we were rumored to draft, Laker fans, and we just passed on him. And shouldn't have. He should have been the guy we picked up. So if he does leave the New York Knicks, I would love for him to be a Laker. We should definitely prioritize putting a phone call into his management and see if they would be interested in joining the LA Lakers for a reasonable price. Because we definitely need what he does, even if he's only going to play 50 games a season. Kelly Olynyk, stretch 5. Nope, join the booth, buddy. It's a wrap. Robert Williams, of course, same thing as Mitchell Robinson. The exact same thing. Copy and paste, same thought. Same exact thought. Kobe White. I would love to have Kobe White. You know, we talk about Colin Sexton and what he represents. Kobe White, you should think even higher than in that regard. But the thing about Kobe White is, does he really want to continue to play a six-man role? That's a guy who should be starting in this league. But I saw what he did for Charlotte in the six-man role. He was terrific. And, you know, I don't know if he's going to find himself in a bit of a guard log jam to where he may not ever be able to get that starting spot again. But he's a guy that still should be looking to be a third option scorer on a playoff team. Like, I don't think the role that I have for him would be his favorite role. But I think if you put him on our team, we don't have some of the same problems with depth. I tell you that. So yeah, I mean, I think Kobe Wright's gonna have many other spots that he can go to get the money in a bigger role. But just in a nutshell, do I want to bring in Kobe White? Of course I do. Hell yeah. Matisse Thybulle. I've never been a big Matisse guy, to be honest with you. I know how great he is defensively, but offensively, he's not consistent at all. The three-point shot comes around once in blue moon. I'm not a believer like that. I know I'm cool. I know he's been rumored to come here. Maybe he helps us a lot defensively, but that's not a piece I'm excited about personally. Luke Kennard, I'd like to bring Luke back, man, but at the right price. I think he, like Rui Hachimura, is an extremely efficient player, to say the least, although he kind of hurt his efficiency coming to the Lakers, which is something I'm sure he's going to think about in the offseason. We just needed him to do a lot more than what he's used to being asked to do, and within the role that he's been in the past, he could pick his spots and pick his shots and keep his percentage up. With us, we needed to be much more volume. So I think that probably frustrated him a little bit. He disappeared in the playoffs, so I'm definitely certain that I should not overpay him. But efficiency, scoring, execution, it's something I never want to be bad at again. When we struggled against the Denver Nuggets, that taught me that in the last 5 minutes of a basketball game, you just got to be able to make shots, man. And when you have guys like Luke Kennard and Rui Hachimura, you're going to be able to hit shots that most guys, they may have other things that they can do that he doesn't do, but they're not going to hit the shots. And we need to be good at executing down the stretch of basketball games against elite defenses. So I think Luke Kennard helps with that. He didn't do well against elite defense when it was placed upon him. But in the proper role, when we have all our pieces and you're asking to be exactly what we're supposed to be asked to be, you really are good shooting the ball with a guy like Luke Kennard. He's a good decision maker. I liked him. I liked him a lot. I just wish he didn't disappear in the playoffs. But when it's time to negotiate, you're kind of glad he did. So hopefully we can re-sign him. I don't know. I don't know if we're going to. Mo Wagner. I like Mo Wagner as a center, but he's not a rim protector center. It's kind of like a screen setter. You know, I think he's probably going to be stuck to his brother for going forward. I don't think the Wagner twins are leaving Orlando. I'd place a call just to see about center depth, but I don't think he's the answer. I really don't. But I liked him. He was cool. Maxi Kleber, time to join the booth, brother. We appreciate you. Gabe Vincent, don't ever come around here again. Quentin Grimes, I'm cool. I saw exactly what went on in Philadelphia just now. Nope, I'm cool on Quentin Grimes. No. He disappears too damn much. His ceiling is really high, but his floor is in hell. And that's the problem with a guy like Quentin Grimes. You bring him in thinking you have some depth, and all of a sudden he's going for 5 points. I'm cool. I know exactly what's going on in Philly. When it comes to him, he wants a certain amount. I ain't paying it. I'm good. Nope. Kelly Oubre, good energy guy. As long as you're asking him to be like your 8th man, 9th man, you got some depth with Kelly Oubre for sure. He can help you on the wing. Probably somebody Lakers should be giving a call to. But if you're asking him to be any more than that, here comes disappointment. He may, the basketball IQ has been in question for a long time. It's going to try to do more than you probably should on certain nights. You got to really be able to reel him in. That's a problem I don't necessarily want to have, but we can use the length and the explosiveness that he provides. He's been getting a little up in age, but, like I said, as long as he's slotted properly on your depth chart, he's a solid aging player at the wing. Anything more than that, and you're asking for trouble. Simone Fontecchio. I like Simone Fontecchio, but I don't know him well enough of him as a player to know all the nuances and stuff like that. So I'm a bit ignorant, but what I've seen from Simone Fontecchio, pretty good. So I mean, that's as much as I can really say. Ayo Dosunmu, you're gonna have to pay him a lot. And look, if we can bring in Ayo Dosunmu, that's a home run, obviously. But do I think he's leaving Minnesota? No. Hell no, I don't think he's leaving Minnesota. They're gonna resign that boy. And they're gonna have to pay him too. So he's a part of the Minnesota future, in my opinion. Unless he just goes out and get a bag somewhere. Either way, I don't see him coming to the Lakers, but he would be a dream scenario piece for us, obviously. We should try to get him. But, do I think it's realistic? Not based on where I'm standing. Give it a shot, though. He should definitely be on the list. Dean Wade, big guy. Injury issues have kind of plagued Dean Wade. I've only recently found out he's as big as he is. I always thought he was a guard, so my view on Dean Wade is I don't know. I really don't know. But, he's playing for a Cleveland team, so if you want to see him, he's out there. I'd say pay attention. He's going to be 30 coming up very soon. But for a big body, wing type of guy, takes care of himself, I think you could do a lot worse. I don't think it would hurt to make a phone call if you're the Lakers for Dean Wade. I don't think it would hurt at all. Jett Howard, I would love to see in a bigger situation. I don't know that Orlando was ever any good for him, but I know what type of shot maker he can be. Yet another, not connective piece, that's the wrong word, high executing offensive shooter. That's what Jett Howard is, and he needs a bigger role. So that's really what it is. I don't know if he's not somebody you're bringing in to start the process of his development because Orlando never played him. But I remember what he was when he came out of college. He's an elite shot maker. He don't do much else, but he's an elite shot maker with good size. So at 22 years old, I temper my expectations to say he's probably going to be somebody that doesn't get a lot of playing time until he proves that he should have it. But once he's able to flex, this is somebody you're going to trust down the stretch to do some of that Luke Kennard, Rui Hachimura stuff. My outside take on him is that he can develop to being a very efficient scorer. I don't know how efficient he is, but I'm assuming if he develops into his best with his talent, he should be able to hit shots consistently. So Jett Howard is still somebody that I'm high on as it pertains to a prospect. I don't know of any injuries that he's had in his career. I don't know of any playing time that he's had in his career. So if he can get away from Orlando, that'd be excellent for him. Go to a situation that needs floor spacers and size to space the floor at the wing spot. I don't expect for him to do anything on the defensive end, but I do expect for him to get better from here. And at age 22, that's a reasonable expectation. So it'd be a great time to bring him in for somebody. I don't know if the Lakers are the team, but somebody needs to bring in Jett Howard and get him the hell away from Orlando. That's a fact. Guerschon Yabusele, I've heard bad things about Guerschon. He's 30 years old now, power forward. I've heard bad things, honestly. I've seen him play well at times, but I just haven't heard the greatest stuff. So Guerschon is an energy, power forward, big body. I don't really know much more other than that. Nick Richards has always been somebody the Lakers have been interested in. He's like a third-string center at this point for center depth. I don't think it would hurt to call him up. I've always seen him do explosive dunks and stuff like that. Probably a good offensive rebounder. I don't expect him to be the center answer, or maybe even my main backup guy, but in a third-string situation, he should be pretty damn good. Andre Drummond, nah, join the booth, buddy. I'm cool. Aaron Holiday, nah, not for me. Dwight Powell, nah. Kevin Love, join the booth. Doug McDermott, join the booth. Jordan Clarkson, join the booth. I think these people are pretty much done. Bismack Biyombo, nope. Kyle Lowry, man, join the booth. Joe Ingles, join the booth. Jeff Green, join the booth. Larry Nance, I think it's about that time, too. Tim Hardaway Jr., 34 years of age, knockdown shooter. He had a really good year with Denver. I'd imagine they're going to want to re-sign him. He's one of those guys who has, the ability to be big. He also has the ability to disappear. He's been around for a long time now, so I still think he can do what it is he does best, but I temper my expectation to say that I'd like him to be my 9th guy or 10th guy on my bench at this point rather than one of my main guys off the bench. I think he can play that level right now, but I think this is one of those years where it's like, all right, it's time for him to start scaling back on some of his usage and start expecting less from him going forward than you've seen from behind. So this is when you start anticipating a guy getting ready to join the booth. And if you don't have a role for that and you think you're bringing him in, you overpay him and all that, you're in trouble. Bad GMs do stuff like that. Garrett Temple, I don't know enough about Garrett Temple, but he's 40 years old. I didn't know Garrett Temple was 40 years old. Yeah, no, join the booth. DeAndre Jordan, join the booth. Jackson Hayes, I'd love to bring back. Luka unlocks him. As long as Luka's on this team, you want guys that can leap. I want more center depth in front of him and around him, but I don't see any reason not to bring him back off a career year. He's only 25 years of age. He's in his prime. He's playing well. Doesn't cost a whole lot. I don't see a reason not to bring him back. Russell Westbrook, man, I'm a Laker fan. We ain't doing that. Gary Payton, energy guy, man. I love GP too, but I just don't know how much he has left. A lot of injuries have kind of worn him down. 33 years of age. Probably got a year or two left of good ball in him. I wouldn't necessarily try to bring him in for me, but I know he can still help. You know what I mean? But there are going to be times where he's not going to be able to do it for you because it's just the wear and tear on his body, man. But he probably has 1 or 2 years left. It wouldn't hurt to make a call. Yeah, I think he would help. But I think he would also be somebody you would expect not to see very much. Thomas Bryant, nah, you requested a trade out of here. Playing the defense. I like TB, but we good. Marvin Bagley's a pretty interesting piece, man. Power forward, had a good year with the Dallas Mavericks. Is a bust, considered a bust, but at this point, he's a very serviceable role player in this league who does play well here and there. I think he's been pretty good over the last couple of years. With Washington, he wasn't bad. With Dallas, he wasn't bad. I think now that he's settled into where he should be as it pertains to his career, 27 years of age, maybe he got some good years ahead for him. You know, I don't particularly think he's washed. I just don't think he ever lived up to his draft stock. But now that you expect him to be a role player, it's a pretty damn good one. You know, so I think Marvin Bagley sticks around this league. I don't know if I call or not. I really don't know. But I think Marvin Bagley, if you have tempered expectations for him playing as a role player and don't think about what he was drafted to be, I think Marvin Bagley is a pretty solid power forward right now. I think he's played his way. I think Dallas should re-sign him, to be honest with you. Drew Eubanks, role player, not really my answer for depth. Landry Shamet, big time shooter. I think the New York Knicks should probably want to keep him around. Somebody who can knock down shots. If for some reason you lose, where's my guy? Luke Kennard, maybe you want to make a call for a guy like that. I don't have super high expectations for what he can do, Landry Shamet, but I do know that he can shoot. He can shoot you down. At this point, he's had so much playoff experience. I think he would really help a team like the Lakers. I really do. I think the depth that you're looking for, you may be able to find a player like that, but as long as you keep him slotted on the roster the way he's supposed to be slotted. So yeah, I like Landry Shamet, but I also like him to stay with the Knicks for their situation. Josh Okogie, as long as you're looking for defense, I kind of got him in that conversation with Matisse Thybulle. That's how I look at Josh Okogie as another Matisse Thybulle. Not so high on one-way defensive guys. I just don't think this is the league for them right now. You still need defense, but if they can't help you offensively, if they're going to be breaking shots, bad executing players, they're getting played off the floor. So I'm not really sure. Josh Okogie's a big body, 27 years old, still in his prime. But I just don't think much there as it pertains to my preference for him. But for wing stuff, for wing depth and stuff like that at a cheaper price, you know, you could do a lot worse. I will say that. Bruce Brown joined the booth. Actually, he's only 29, but he looked kind of washed low-key, man. I wasn't too excited about Bruce Brown. Maybe he's fighting his way back from the injury that kept him out for a whole season. But between me and you, he looked washed, man. So washed 29-year-old Bruce Brown. Maybe he comes back with different conditioning next year and is ready to make a push for the next couple of years. But if we're getting the Bruce Brown that the Denver Nuggets had this year, I'm cool, bro. Jordan McLaughlin, role player, I'm good. Amir Coffey, role player, I'm good. Javonte Green, 32 years of age, wing. That's somebody I would call if I'm the Lakers. Even though he's 32 years old, the way that he plays, the energy he plays with, the physicality he plays with, how much Detroit has used him this year, you temper your expectations. He's not coming in scoring a lot, but he's going to be a bigger, a defensive body, 50-50 guy, garbage work guy is what I'm trying to say, that does the work that you need him to do, setting screens, getting steals, getting in passing lanes, and making disruption happen on the defensive end. I think Javonte Green would be an excellent addition for the Lakers for what it is that we need, garbage, pale, carrying dudes that are just going to do all the dirty work. We need guys like that. He's a little long in the tooth, though. 32 years of age, a little long for a guy that you want to do that much damage in dirty work areas. But he's shown with Detroit that he can do it. I think they should re-sign him. Seth Curry, nope, join the booth. Jae'Sean Tate, Jae'Sean Tate is a sneaky guy because I think he can help you in them areas too. But I don't know why it hasn't really worked out in Houston like you would expect it to. And now that he's age 30, it's just like, But I think at the same time, you could look at Jae'Sean Tate and say he really could use a change of scenery. He really could. And he can help you on offensive rebounds. He could help you defensively. I don't really expect much offensively. I don't really expect much from night to night. But there will be occasions where he can do good things for you. So I would keep an eye open for Jae'Sean Tate for the Lakers. I really think he can get the hell out of Houston and probably just enjoy somewhere else for a change. So yeah, I think it's time for him to move on from there, and I would place a call from the Lakers. Minimum guy, I don't think it would hurt. Anthony Gill, 33 years of age. I'm not really familiar. He's just lost in Washington. I don't know. Who knows? Jock Landale had a good season. I was low on Jock Landale going into last season. I saw enough from Jock Landale to know that he's an NBA player. 30 years of age, he did some good things for Atlanta after making the trade at the deadline to get him. He was pretty good. Before that, where he was, I think he was pretty good. So Jock Landale grew on me a little bit. With Memphis, I thought he played pretty well. He's okay. He's an okay guy. Bones Highland, big-time executing scorer, once again, in that Luke Kennard type mold. I don't think he's nearly as efficient, but he'll break you down and score on you. He's doing good things with the Minnesota Timberwolves. They should probably want to bring him back at 25 years of age. I think his best games are probably ahead of him as a backup microwave scorer. I think Bones Highland is going to be pretty good going forward, so it would be a great time to pick him up. In general, it'd be a good time to pick him up. Lindy Waters, I always like Lindy Waters as a shooter. I really like him as a shooter. He's gotten lost. I don't know what the deficiencies are that keep him from having a bigger role with most teams, but I've seen enough good from him to know that he can hit a three-point shot. I know that. Precious Achiuwa, probably a good time to pick up Precious Achiuwa. He's played really well secretly in Sacramento, scoring, playing better defense than what he was projected to be as a starter, as a rookie rather. He's been good. I think he's really good. If you don't have to overpay for him, he could be a great catch for somebody who needs energetic power forward. This is the right time to get him, 26 years of age. Xavier Tillman, I remember what he did with the Memphis Grizzlies, kind of got lost in Boston and Charlotte. They don't use him, so I don't know what's going on there. But I remember he did some good things with Memphis. I know that, and he's only 27, so that's interesting. Blake Wesley, yeah, he should be picked up. He should be picked up. Definitely call somebody for Blake Wesley, especially if he's only making $3 million. I think it's time for him to get a little bit of a pay raise. He's a good bench player, played with a lot of energy in Portland last year. I always believed what he could do, even when he was drafted with the San Antonio Spurs with like the 7th overall pick. He never lived up to that. I think a lot of that had to do with injuries and stuff, and plus he was on a very bad Spur team and just was using a lot of different guys at his position. So it's still some juice there in Blake Wesley. He's only 23 years of age. That's the type of player I'm calling if I'm the Lakers. Try to bring in some shooting guard, wing depth, speed. Yeah, I'm bringing in Blake Wesley. I don't have expectations for him being a starter, but when you talk about boosting your bench, making sure that all of your players are of quality, I think Blake Wesley is somebody that fills that box for me. I think his best stuff is ahead of him based on his age. He will be even better than he's been. Colin Gillespie, hell yeah. You can get him away from Phoenix. That's a knockdown shooter, dude. Knockdown shooter. He showed me that he's really going to be good, and he's only 26. He's got it out the mud. From what I understand, he had to go the long way. Stayed in school, went through the G, found a home in Phoenix, and I think they should want to keep him. There's no way I'm letting him go if I'm the Phoenix Suns. They're going to pay him. But if we could get him, hell yeah, he's an upgrade from Luke Kennard, from being honest with you. That's a real shooter, man. Colin Gillespie's good. Bryce McGowan showed some good things too, man. In New Orleans, he's also one of those guys that got it out the mud. Been, going back and forth between bad organizations, Charlotte, New Orleans. But he really had an opportunity with the New Orleans Pelicans last year and showed me enough juice off the bench to let me know, yeah, his best games are ahead of him too. Bryce McGowan is going to get better from here. So if you're paying attention to guys on the upswing who have been known to be guys that didn't really make it, and you want to take a flyer on somebody that you think will, going forward, play better than they were from behind in the past, Bryce McGowan's is definitely a good bet to be better tomorrow than he was yesterday. Definitely a good bet for that. Keon Ellis, I don't know where Keon Ellis is in his career right now, but I do know that what you initially wanted from him was to play defense and hit some three-point shots. He tends to run cold, tends to disappear, but he can still be somebody that can defend very well. I think the Lakers probably have a bigger role from him than maybe Cleveland does, to be honest with you. I would make the call. If you liked him 2 years ago, you shouldn't have any reason not to like him now. And so I would still have him on the list as somebody to bring in with tempered expectations, expecting him to disappear. But when you're talking about wing depth and dirty work guys, playing defense, sitting in that chair, being a point of attack defender, he's still very capable of that. Omax, yeah, that's another one. Defensive. Omax Prosper. I was pretty high on him on draft day. It's only been, 3 years. He started to find some role-playing opportunities with the Memphis Grizzlies. They are a rebuilding team. I think he's an intricate part of what they're doing, especially with the passing of Brandon Clark. He means even more now to the Memphis Grizzlies, so I think he stays. I don't see him going anywhere unless he just wants to, but the role should be bigger going forward, unfortunately. Although you do expect that they may use their pick on a forward, he can play multiple forward positions and be a dirty work guy that can help a rebuilding team. So I don't see him leaving there. I don't. Jordan Goodwin, if we can bring back Jordan Goodwin, that's a no-brainer. We should have never let him go in the first day in place. Phoenix should be excited about bringing him back. But if we can get Jordan Goodwin back, that's a duh. He should have never been gone. We know. Come on, man. I ain't got to finish that conversation. Javon Carter. I think some people like Javon Carter. He's streaky. He could be defensive out there. I'm not a big Javon Carter guy, to be honest with you, but I've seen him play well. Brandon Williams. I'm a fan of Brandon Williams. I like Brandon Williams a lot. I know he can't shoot the jumper very well. He's a very inconsistent jump shooter, but driving at the rim, he's consistent. I think his best games are ahead of him. 26 years of age, been mentored by Kyrie for the last couple of years. I like Brandon Williams a lot. And I think it would behoove the Dallas Mavericks to bring him back. He should be a part of what they're doing. With Masai Ujiri in place, I don't know what direction they're going to take, but I'm not letting Brandon Williams walk out of my organization if I'm Dallas. Not me. Mike Conley joined the booth. Mason Plumlee joined the booth. Cam Thomas. I don't know what's going on with Cam Thomas, but I know he can hit shots, and he's only 24 years of age. I don't expect him to play no damn defense, but if I'm bringing him in to be what I expect him to be, he can score 70 points in a game. I ain't exaggerating. I think that man can score 70 points in a game. If you give him the ball 100 times, he gonna hit 90 shots. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's an elite scorer. Don't do nothing else. Not necessarily built to do dirty work or anything like that. I got him in that Rui Hachimura category of players to where, he's going to have some massive deficiencies that can really hurt you if you don't have the stuff in place that can mask those. But if you have all those things in place that can mask those and you just need somebody to just go for theirs and get scoring going off, Cam Thomas, you ain't going to find 7 players more talented than Cam Thomas at all of that. You ain't going to find 7 players more talented than Cam Thomas at all of that. Now, he might be a little delusional as it pertains to where he thinks he's at in his career versus other players. He thinks he's Tyler Hero or something like that. That's nutty. And I knew it would hurt his overall negotiation process, and it has. He ended up with the Milwaukee Bucks, thinking he was going to have a bigger role, thinking maybe they were going to make the playoffs. None of that happened. He ended up getting waived like 3 weeks after being picked up. I just don't know where he's at this point. But I know one thing, whoever gets him has a microwave scorer. Cam Thomas can eventually, and he's only 24, he can get to where Norman Powell's at. He can get to where Norman Powell's at. You know what I mean? Like, Norman's 32 and just made his first All-Star team. I don't see any reason why Cam Thomas can't develop into essentially being that. I don't see why he can't. So, all things remaining equal, I think there are a lot of teams that should want Cam Thomas, but they got to have the stuff in place that can mask his deficiencies, and they got to be able to put a muzzle on him as it pertains to when he starts shooting too much and missing shots, stuff like that. If it's not going, it's not going. And you got to mitigate the injury risk because he does tend to miss a lot of games a lot of the time. How much of that had to do with him playing for Brooklyn and them always being a horrible team, I don't know. But I think Cam Thomas should be coveted by several teams, particularly teams that can use scoring in abundance. Kyle Anderson, I think he probably has a year left, doing what he does. Slow-mo is a player that's obviously his game is not predicated on speed. Obviously somebody who can do things on both sides of the floor. I don't know how much he has left. You have to pay attention to what's going on in Minnesota to know. But who he's been his whole career, somebody who can still, if he's that, help this team for certain. So, yeah, man, he's a journeyman at this point. I don't know how much I expect out of him. But Kyle Anderson is still somebody I hold in high regard as a role player. Tyus Jones, not going to turn the ball over. A game manager if I ever seen one. Kind of long in the tooth at this point, age 30. Not much athleticism there. I'm not really an answer for what it is I got going on. Jeremy Sohan, I don't know what's going on with him. He chose the New York Knicks, and he hasn't had no minutes. They ain't playing him. They acting like he sucks. I don't know what has happened since he went down with that injury 2 years ago. But it seems to me he's gotten lost in this league, and it seems to me that people have forgotten who he is. That's what I'll say. Jeremy Sohan was a player that I had on fantasy teams just 2 seasons ago. He can play. He might have some deficiencies, this and that, but he can play. So I don't know what's going on. But him going to New York has really hurt his value bad because they acting like he ain't got no game at all. And given the fact that they're winning doing it, it seems like the right decision. So I don't know. But I know this. He's only 22 years old, and if he's who he was with the San Antonio Spurs, he could definitely help a team, especially over the next several years. He goes into his mid-20s. He can help a team. AJ Lawson, I'm ignorant. I don't know. I don't know of AJ Lawson. Somebody in Toronto would have to give me some understanding. 25 years old forward. Of course, we should be looking for all of that. That's what we're looking for. 25-year-old forwards. Yeah, we should make phone calls for 25-year-old forwards. But how his game goes, I have no idea. Zero understanding. Tony Bradley, role-playing center. We drafted him. I remember that. That's about as much as I know. Charles Bassey was very impressive with the Golden State Warriors. This past season, he played his way into somebody I'm paying attention to, 25 years of age. For center depth, absolutely, yes. You call Charles Bassey, yes, absolutely. So that runs through all of the unrestricted free agents, guys, that you don't have to go through any hoops to try to re-sign. Restricted free agents, I don't know how interested the Lakers would be specifically in getting involved with restricted free agency, because you have to overpay to get a lot of those guys. A lot of these teams, they're going to re-sign their guys. You know, a guy like Igor Dimin, he's going to re-sign with the Brooklyn Nets. They drafted him last year. I don't even know how he's a restricted free agent already. He went down with a season-ending injury. I don't know how he's a restricted free agent. Ben Mathurin, of course the Clippers are keeping Ben Mathurin. Ousmane Dieng, I would definitely want if I'm the Lakers. He showed enough in Milwaukee this last year to tell me that the Thunder didn't really have the role to showcase how good he is. I think he's a lot better than they were able to show. He showed glimpses of that in Milwaukee. With them now turning the page on Giannis, they should want Ousmane Dieng back. They should definitely want Ousmane Dieng back, but he's definitely somebody we could use for sure. Hell yes. Jalen Duren, of course. And I know he's coming off of bad playoffs. There's still more games to go. In fact, his team plays tonight in a pivotal Game 5. Maybe he plays well. He does not look good in these playoffs. That is not deterring me from bringing him in. I absolutely want Jalen Duren. He's in a low point in his career. Fine. That just means the price is more reasonable for me. I need a Jalen Duren if I'm the Lakers. I'm going to prioritize trying to give him some type of contract if at all possible. Obviously, you expect the Detroit Pistons to re-sign him. You expect the Detroit Pistons to re-sign him. But should the Lakers want Jalen Duren? Of course. Hell yeah. He's only 22 years old. He just made an all-star team. He may be playing like trash right now, but that ain't changing nothing about whether or not I want him on my teams. Of course I do. Chai Baji, shooter, 26 years of age. I don't really know. I'm a little ignorant when it comes out. Chai Baji. I just don't know. Mark Williams, I don't think he likes us very much, but I would still love to have Mark Williams. Tari Eason, yeah, I'd love to bring in Tari, but I have expectations that he's going to miss games, man. He's injury prone. That's what I've learned. But is he somebody we should want? Of course. Of course we should want Tari Eason. Just don't expect him to be a very good executing player. He's going to break shots. We saw it in the playoffs. We know what it is. Tari Eason would be great for us. Nick Clifford, hell yeah, if I can bring in Nick Clifford. I loved him in the draft last year, 24 years of age. He had a good rookie season. Sacramento should see him as part of their future, a nice role player going forward, maybe even somebody who can be a starter. Of course, if you saw what I saw last year with Nick Clifford in the draft, you were excited about him. You didn't do nothing to make you not at Sacramento. He's good. Hell yeah, of course you want him. Jace Richardson, 20 years old, scorer. He hasn't had a chance to get off the ground with Orlando. I don't know if he's going to be on that team or not. He's a little undersized, but I know how talented he can be scoring the ball. Not quite the piece I'm looking for, but I think he's going to be really good someday. Patrick Baldwin, PB&J, still trying to make his way through the league, man. He's played on, 7 different teams, something crazy like that. He can shoot. I don't know what else he can do. Walker Kessler, of course I want Walker Kessler. We've been wanting Walker Kessler for 20 years. We've wanted Walker Kessler on this team for 1,000 years. Of course we want Walker Kessler. Do I expect the Utah Jazz to re-sign him? Of course I do. Hell yes. They got the number 2 pick in the draft. They're about to get an all-world guard. Likely. They just got Jaren Jackson. Him and Jaren Jackson, I don't know how well they fit, but Jaren shoots the 3. Walker can stretch the floor a little bit, so in theory it should work out. They got one of the best shot-blocking tandems on the planet. Couple that with Ace Bailey and all this other stuff that the Utah Jazz got. Of course they should want to re-sign Walker Kessler. I would expect them to match pretty much anything. But now that they have Jaren Jackson in place, they may not match just anything. So that's interesting right there. But if we can get Walker Kessler, freaking course we should want Walker Kessler. David Roddy, I'll cry ignorant. I don't really know if David Roddy that well. Seems pretty energetic, 25 years of age. I'm not sure. Marshawn Beauchamp, it hasn't really worked out, but he has the length that I'm interested in. But if I'm trying to count on all of my roster spots being people that I'm comfortable JJ's going to use, I don't think so. I don't think he's going to fit that mold. He's probably going to be somebody that's doing a lot of sitting, but he has the body and the length and the stuff that people should want to develop. So hopefully it works out for Marshawn. I really, Marjon Beauchamp was always somebody I thought could help on the wing. I don't think it would hurt to make a call, bring him in, see what he looks like, but I'm not really sure that he provides the depth right away. He's more of a project going forward, I think. Wendell Moore, I'm not familiar. Thomas Hill, no. Ariel Hukporti, I haven't seen much out of Ariel Hukporti. It makes me excited. He's a back of the draft guy on a bad draft, center guy taken around where Bronny was taken. I don't know. Center position, you could use center position, but I think the Knicks are out on our Ariel Hukporti. I don't know. I just don't know. Peyton Watson, of course we want Peyton Watson. Of course. Hell yeah, bring him back to L.A. He went to UCLA, he's developed fully at Denver. They looked great with him last year before he went down with the injury. Has had some setbacks with that injury, but it's not keeping me from bringing him in. Peyton Watson should be at the top of our free agent list for restricted free agency, and I don't know what Denver's going to do. I don't really know what they're going to do. In regards to re-signing, it seems like it makes sense. He obviously had a breakout, but he may be outpriced for Denver. I don't know. I expect him to bring him back, though. If I'm a betting man, I say he stays with Denver probably for the next 4 or 5 years. So that's kind of what I expect. But do I want us to make a play for Peyton Watson? Yes. Hell yes. Keaton Wallace from the Atlanta Hawks. He's a nice player, man. I've seen him do really good things. Brother of Wallace over there in OKC, who just ran us out the damn gym. I don't think he's the same player as his brother, but they have some of the similar stuff on the wing defensively. Keaton's done some really good things when given minutes, so I'm a believer. He seemed pretty good to me. Jamal Shead, I like Jamal Shead a lot. Defensive point guard. I don't think he's the answer at point guard. He's more of a Marcus Smart. He's like a Marcus Smart type guy, Jamal Shead. Defensive, probably not going to hit the three like Marcus right now, but he can develop into it. Not as big as Marcus, but like kind of some of the same stuff, playing that point guard position. Not somebody that you have as an answer at the point guard position, but is somebody that can be very helpful in getting others involved and in helping defensively as well. So that's a unique piece, and I like it. I think Toronto will probably keep him, but they should still be looking for a point guard just the same. Ryan Rupert, good wing, has the length. I don't know if he's developed the way you want him to. I don't know if he'd be somebody JJ would play very much, but he does have the quintessential body to play that role that you need to kind of do some dirty work and block some shots and stuff like that. So Ryan Rupert is always an interesting prospect just with the body. Only 21 years of age. I wouldn't mind calling and seeing what he can do. But I wouldn't expect that we play him very much unless he makes some jumps in some areas, which he may. So this is another guy in Memphis, of course. Again, Memphis has a new need for that piece even more so than they did in the past. So I'd imagine he's going to be re-signed just like Omax. Jalen Wilson, not really overly familiar with Jalen playing for the Brooklyn Nets. I'm not going to even pretend like I know. 25 years of age at power forward. Only drafted just a couple of years ago. He played pretty well for the Brooklyn Nets. I think he's a player that's getting better from here. That's about as much as I can say. Jameer Watkins, not familiar, plays for the Washington Wizards. I just don't know. 24 years of age guard, I don't know. Jalen Clark, nice defensive player, not getting any minutes in Minnesota. Y'all know how I feel about Minnesota's coaching that way of doing things out there. I think Jalen Clark's probably got a better role elsewhere, maybe with the Lakers. Defensive guy, point of attack defender. Probably not a very consistent scorer, but I think he's better than what the Timberwolves have been asking him to be. I definitely think he could be good elsewhere. Keshett Johnson, I only know of him from the dunk contest. I really don't know. I don't know. I know he can jump out the gym from Miami, but you'd have to tell me in Miami if he's any good. I just don't know. Mohamed Diawara, same thing. I don't know much about him at all. I remember seeing the name, but that's as much as I got. Quentin Post, a center that doesn't play in the post, only shoots threes. 26 years of age. For center depth and for stretch 5, I would love to bring in Quentin Post. Snatch him away from the ops over there. I think he would be a great pickup for us. I really do, especially if we can't figure out nothing else at the center position. Yeah, he'll play up his value from here. I think he's going to be pretty good. Pat Spencer, Pat Spencer is pretty good, man. He showed me some good stuff over there in Golden State. Both the Spencer boys are pretty good. 29 years of age. He's getting better. He's getting better. I like the role that he had in Golden State when guys were out. He's pretty good. Spencer Jones, that's somebody the Lakers should be calling up for the small forward position. He did some good things with Denver. Obviously, a 9th guy, 10th guy. But when you talk about wing depth, again, any type of wing we should be calling up. 24 years of age. He's only going to play better from here. Jonathan Williams, never heard of him until this morning. I don't know who that is. Honestly, I have no idea. Trevor Keels, don't know nothing about him in Miami. 22-year-old shooting guard. Tyrese Martin in Philadelphia. Kind of ignorant to Tyrese too. I don't know. I think he played for. Did he play for Brooklyn a little bit? I don't really know. I'm not familiar. Sean Padulio, the Clippers, not familiar. Norchard Amir, the Clippers, not familiar. Jalen Slauson, Indy, not familiar. Olivier Sarr or Oliver Sarr, center, Cleveland, not familiar. Joshua Duro, center, not familiar. Christian Coloco, center, not familiar. John Tanji, only know of the name, not familiar. And Brandon Carlson, yes, get him away from OKC. Bring him in, see if he can do some of that stuff he did in garbage time near the end of the season for somebody else. That is a long center prospect, smaller guy, so you don't want to put him on people thinking he's going to defend people, but he can rebound the ball. He can definitely dunk it. I think he can shoot a little bit too. Brandon Carlson is a sneaky, interesting player for me to try to snatch away from that OKC team and give him a real role. And I think everybody should study what's on the back of that OKC bench, because at the end of the day, they're going to have to get rid of a lot of players to bring in all these draft picks and lottery picks. So your Carlsons and people like that may not have a role on their team anymore. Definitely look at that if you're the Lakers. Look at OKC and see what you can snatch from there. Musa Cisse, absolutely. Dallas should want to bring him back for sure. Yes, Musa Cisse had a fantastic year with them off a two-way. They should be wanting to re-sign him, yes. He's somebody to bring in. Enrique Freeman, not familiar. I think he was a guy that was drafted last year in the second round that we liked a lot, but I don't really remember. I think that's who that is. I think he was drafted to the Pacers, found his way to Minnesota. Minnesota, of course, doesn't play bench players, so you never see him. But I think there's some juice there. I think so. Jemai Meshack, I think he was a rookie last year too, not familiar too much. Drew Timme, our guy, I'd love to bring him back. I believe in him more than we did. I would keep Drew Timme. I think he's an lethal offensive scorer. And at only 25 years of age, he showed me enough to know he should be not only on our team, but playing a bigger role. So, I bring back Drew Timme. Hell yeah. Yes. I would, for me, I'm tired of watching the league disrespect a guy like Drew Timme. Because every time I see him play, he's balling. And that's what I said this season. This dude ain't do nothing but be difficult to defend for everybody we put out there on him. He was scoring lights out. He don't miss hardly any damn thing. And you want to tell me because he's not very athletic you can't use him? No, that is not true. That's not true. So if Drew Timme ain't going to find his way with us, I'm telling anybody who's listening to me, that dude can score, man. This is not just some old regular run-of-the-mill player. He can really, really score. And if you have the pieces in place that can help him be himself, you can definitely play up his value from here. Zero brainer there. Yes. Chaney Johnson, not familiar. Caleb Love had a fantastic breakout with the Portland Trail Blazers. I've heard a lot of good things about Caleb Love. I think his best play is ahead of him. Checky Hepburn, I know the name but not the player. Tyson Etienne, not familiar with the name nor the player. Kobe Bryant drafted last year, still looking for an opportunity at the guard spot. I'm pretty sure he can go. I've heard good things. Curtis Jones, not familiar. Taylor Peter was a guy they reached on in Pacerland last year at the end of the first round because he was highly efficient. I did homework on him and I like what I saw. That would be somebody I'd circle is to take a look at. See if there's something there at the guard spot, because I think that's somebody who could someday explode. I think that he could explode out of absolute nowhere. I don't know if it's going to happen, but I do know why the Pacers targeted him at a little tiny school somewhere and nobody ever heard of this guy, and they took him with a second round pick or something like that, and they haven't really given him the minutes and stuff like that, but I didn't forget what they saw in him. I never did. That's somebody to bring in, see if there's some juice there. If it's nothing, it's nothing. Chris Magnon, yeah, we should be keeping Chris Magnon. We need what he does. We didn't use him. We're stupid for that. Keep Chris Magnon, please. Keep him. Hell yeah. There should be no reason he plays for a different team next year. Isaiah Crawford, I'm honestly not familiar. Daquan Plowden, yes. Athletic. Sacramento Kings guard. Daquan Plowden, know of him. He showed me something this year when we played the Sacramento Kings in the second half of the season. This dude is athletic. He is strong. He's very well conditioned. He'll dunk on your head at the 2-guard spot. Yes, Daquan Plowden is on my radar for my Lakers. If we can snatch him out of Sacramento, we will like having this dude. Yes. Yuki Kawamura. I like Yuki. Everybody likes Yuki. He's probably shorter than me, but he's a fantastic basketball player. Obviously, you're going to target him. You know, it's going to be difficult for him to find his way in this league. But if you're talking about a guy that's going to hit threes, make trick shots, get other people involved at a very high level, nice backup point guard. If he were taller, he would be more valued in this league. But that dude's a no-brainer. He should definitely be playing at a high level somewhere. Alex Morales, not familiar. Brooks Barnheiser in that same boat as a OKC guy like Brandon Carlson. You should definitely be looking at Brooks Barnheiser. I think everybody knows that. Anybody who's watched OKC, seen them in garbage time, knows damn well Brooks Barnheiser can play. That's a no-brainer. Hell yeah, bring him in. Elijah Harkless, not familiar. Isaiah Stevens, not familiar. Sharif Cooper, still rooting for you, dog. I know this has been devastating for him because he was such a highly touted player coming out of college. Very exciting player, but he just has not found his way in the NBA at all, man. But I think he's already shown me that he has some special stuff. I don't really know of why it hasn't worked out in the NBA, but he has some special stuff. I know that. Ty Washington, prospect, still looking forward to seeing him kind of develop. Not really sure what's going on there, but I remember the name. Ray J. Dennis has played well in different situations. Not really sure where it's headed, but he definitely had a breakout at the beginning of the year with the Detroit Pistons, I believe he played for. Or was it the Indiana Pacers? Might have been the Pacers. But he made a name for himself. So I look for him to continue to do that. Mac McClung, salute Mac. I don't know why it's never worked in the NBA, but they always call him for the dunk contest. One of the best dunkers we've seen. KJ Simpson, not familiar too much, honestly. He plays for Denver. I'm not really familiar. Trey Alexander, same thing, not really familiar. Shooting guard. Elijah Martin, again, not really familiar with him either in Toronto. Antonio Reeves showed me something with the New Orleans Pelicans. He's pretty good. Since plays for the Charlotte Hornets, but he showed some good stuff. I think he'll probably work his way through the mud, try to get it. Kevin McCullough Jr., I did scouting on him last year. He was pretty good, but I think there was some deficiencies to his health and his athleticism combined. So some people thought he should go in the first round. He ended up going in the second round, got lost, but I haven't forgotten who he is. I think he could still help a team. When you're looking for guys that people have been impressed with in the past, who have since gone on to lose value, he's a name. He's a name to pay attention to. Ethan Thompson, not familiar. Lachlan Obridge, he played for us? Apparently he does. I ain't never heard of him. He's with the Lakers, apparently. Never heard of him. Isaiah Levers, I'm good. David Gomes-Garcia, he's been out for the season, but that dude can play, man. Every time you see him in the G or in the Summer League, he's always the best player on the floor. David Jones-Garcia of the Spurs, I don't know what this injury did to him. He's going to have to come back from that. But I still look for him to make a name for himself someday. He can play. That part is, he can play. I know that. Harrison Ingram, I don't really know much of Harrison Ingram. I know he's with the Spurs and he's a wing that they have on their bench. I don't know if he's where this is headed, but something to think about. Alex Antetokounmpo, another Antetokounmpo brother. Was he the one that won the championship with us? No, was it? It might have been Alex. I don't remember. Dylan Jones, SF's small forward for the Knicks. I remember the name. I think people were excited about him as much as I can say. Leaky Black, I've seen him do some good things. I don't know if he would be an answer for what we got going on, but I've heard good things about Leaky, seen him do some good things. Tyler Smith. Isn't that Tyler Smith from Milwaukee? I thought he was still there. No, that's a different person. Not familiar. Oscar Tshiebwe, he did some good things at Utah in the garbage time minutes near the end of the season when they were putting all the bad players on the floor and just telling them to go. He was a good player. I saw enough from Oscar Tshiebwe to know that he's got some juice. Castleton, we know Castleton here in LA. EJ Liddell, I've heard the name but not familiar with the player too much. Trey Jemison, shout out Trey Jemison. We enjoyed your time here. And Vadasar Golden, I know the name but not the player. So I went through all the restricted free agents as well on this list. Those are guys that you have to negotiate a way to get a contract that hopefully won't be matched by the other team. There are some names there we should be excited about, but I ultimately think most of those people are either going to go back or, some of those names probably won't be in the NBA this year. So that's what it is, man. And then you got teams with player options, stuff like that. We ain't gonna get into all that. But some names, man. Some names. Marcus Smart has a player option. DeAndre Ayton has a player option. Austin, of course, is gonna opt out of his. A lot of these people are gonna re-sign. They're gonna stay in their situation. They're not gonna get the money that they have if they opt out. Trae Young, Zach LaVine, James Harden. I expect all those people to opt in. Andrew Wiggins opting in. Fred VanVleet opting in. Draymond opting in. Kentavious, they got to waive that. $22 million for KCP right now is nuts. Austin Reeves, he's opted out. We know that. We'll see. D'Lo definitely opting in. Al Horford, depends on if he wants to retire or not. Bradley Beal, he's opting in, I'm sure. Kevin Porter should opt out of that $5 million. Kevin Porter should opt out. He's always been better than what he's been asked to do. That domestic violence situation he had kind of messed him up, but I still believe in what he can be. At 26 years of age, he showed me enough last year with the Bucks that he should still be somebody they want. I think there's a decent chance they're going to draft a guard with their pick, and I think he should get the hell out of there. I don't know what type of bag he can demand, but I think he can get more than $5 million. I do believe that. So, yeah, KPJ is interesting. Marcus Smart's probably opting in. Hopefully he does. We want him to come back at $5 million. He might opt out. We'll see. But we definitely want him back. Jose Alvarado at $4 million. Depends on how things go with the Knicks going forward. If he has a really good end of this playoff series, I think he'll probably opt out of that. Probably want a little more money than that. So we'll see what happens. They're still alive. Gary Trent, $3 million, opting in. Yes, he is. Gary Harris, $3 million, opting in. Pretty certain. Taurean Prince has a player option. Taurean Prince been retired for a long time. Oh, no, I'm getting mixed up with Tayshaun Prince. Taurean Prince is the guy we had on our team. Yeah, he's opting in at $3 million. I think DeAnthony Melton, he had a really good season this last year with Golden State. Maybe he can get a little more than $3 million. That's up in the air. I don't really know. Mamu, $2 million, he's opting out of that. Got to get more money for Mamu Kelishvili. Mamu Kelishvili at $2 million? Man, get the hell out of that contract, bro. Look at some bag. You crazy? He got to get a bag bigger than that. That's not even reasonable. And Jericho Sims at $2 million? I don't know. He should be coveted by certain teams, but I don't know that he's played himself above $2 million in this market. I don't think so. But Sandro, that's a no-brainer. $2 million for Sandro and Mamu Kelishvili? Get the hell out of that contract. What are you doing, man? Get you some money. Anyway, that's pretty much what we got to say about that, man. And the other type of, club options? Yeah, Isaiah Hardenstein has a club option. Jonathan Kuminga has a club option. Bogdan Bogdanovic, they going to get out of that. $17 million a bogey? Hell no, get out of that. Dort, club option, $16 million. They probably going to pick that up. I see them picking that up. Brook Lopez, $8 million. I don't see an answer for the Clippers at the center position, so they should probably bring Brook back. They should probably bring him back. Kevon Looney, they're getting rid of that. In New Orleans, I don't see him coming back there. That might be somebody to call if you're the Lakers. He probably goes back to Golden State. Kendrick Williams, yeah, I don't think they're bringing him back. I don't think OKC's bringing Kendrick Williams back. I doubt it. Zaire Williams, Brooklyn, club option, interesting. Keep an eye open for that because that's definitely a player I want. I think the Brooklyn Nets probably keep him at $6 million. I think he should want out of that. He could probably make a little more money. He could probably at least make 10 at this point. He had a really good year with Brooklyn. He should be in a winning situation. I like Zaire a lot. Yeah, he got into it with somebody on our team, didn't he? Last time we saw the Brooklyn Nets? He got into it with somebody. I don't remember who it was. I think it was Vando. I think he and Vando don't get along or something. I don't know. Day'Ron Sharpe, definitely somebody the Brooklyn Nets are going to bring back at $6 million. He should want out of that, too. He should want more money. Nicholas Batum, the Clippers love Nicholas Batum a lot. $5 million probably not so bad for him. I don't know if I keep him on that if I'm the Clippers. Not with the timeline they look like they're going to be shifting into. Probably not. Dennis Jenkins at $3 million. Hell yeah, he'll be right back with Detroit. Unfortunately for him, he needs more money than that. Dominic Barlow, yeah, $3 million. They probably bring him back on that. Philadelphia. Julian Champagnie on $3 million. Hell yeah, that's a dirt cheap contract. I would want that restructured, man. I would. Julian Champagnie needs quadruple that. Are you kidding me? He gonna be making $3 million next year for the Spurs? Oh no, that's not right. That's not right. That's wrong. Trenton Rodford, $2 million. Philadelphia, I don't know. No idea. Pat Connaughton, it's time to join the booth, buddy. Josh Minott on $2 million. That's pretty solid, I guess. I don't know if they've really played up his value any further than that. I don't think so. Neemias Queta, yeah, they could pick that up. $2 million for Neemias Queta after the year he just had. He should want that restructured. Micah Potter, he played pretty good in pockets at the time for Indy. I don't know if they're going to bring him back or not sure. GG on $2 million, yep. Memphis definitely bringing him back. Leonard Miller on a $2 million contract. Hell yeah, Chicago's definitely bringing that back. I don't know why. Well, I do know why. To get Ayo DeSumo, you should definitely do that. But I would have wanted to hold on to Leonard Miller if I were the Minnesota Ball Club. He's going to be better from here. That's a really good contract there. Jalen Pickett, not familiar. Jonathan Mogbo, $2 million. I'm not really sure how things are going there. Jamal Shead, I thought he was unrestricted. Didn't we already name Jamal Shead? He has a club option and a player option? I don't understand what's going on there. Julian Phillips, not familiar. Craig Porter's pretty good, $2 million pickup. Probably. Jordan Walsh, another guy. Of course I want him if I'm the Lakers. Of course, if you're the Celtics, you're not letting him go at $2 million. Under $2 million for Jordan Walsh at this stage in his career, what he just showed you, Boston, y'all should do right by him and restructure that. Give him some real money. Give him some real money. Stop playing with that man like that. Andre Jackson, I would love to see him outside of Milwaukee. I think he's pretty good. Trace Jackson Davis, same thing. $1 million, under $2 million. He might. I don't really know what they think of him in Toronto. I'm not really sure. They haven't played his value up any more than that. That's probably why. Mohamed Gay, I like him a lot. He was pretty good in Atlanta. I thought he was somewhere else since then, but they got a team option on him. Or rather, this is all team option stuff. Pell Larson, yeah, that's somebody who should probably make a little more money. Yeah, he did some good things. The Carlo guy from the Pelicans, they have a club option on him. I'm sure they're bringing him back. Killian Hayes, not really sure. Think about that in Sacramento, I'm not really sure. Jameer Watkins, not familiar too much. Jordan Miller, another guy that should be wanting to restructure. Some of these teams are making out like bandits, boy. These dudes broke out. They should be making more money than this, man. Jordan Miller should be making more money than that. Jamari Bouye, yeah, with a bigger role, I think he will be better. This is a big year for him coming up with the Phoenix Suns. They'll be happy to bring him back on that. Omax, same thing. Wasn't he on a player option? How can you have a club option and a player option at the same time? I do not know. Maybe that's not what this is. Jamal Cain, not really familiar with him in Orlando. Delano Banton's a nice wing on $1.4 million. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Boston probably bring that back. Dylan Terry, nah, I haven't heard nothing good. I haven't seen anything good, honestly. Unfortunately enough, Dylan Terry, even though it's only $1.3 million, I don't know if I use the roster spot on him, to be honest. Ron Harper Jr., yeah, he's done enough in Boston to earn his way back. They're definitely happy to have him on a $1.3 million contract. J.D. Davison, not really familiar from Houston. Amari Williams had some juice coming out of the draft last year. I'm pretty sure they'll be happy to bring him back in Boston. Kobe Sanders, restructure. He should not be on no $1.3 million contract going forward. No. Him or Miller. Both of those guys for the Clippers need bigger contracts. This is ridiculous. They should be doing more. The Lakers have a club option on Nick Smith. I'm picking that up. I like Nick Smith. I'll bring him back. On $1.2 million contract? Yeah, I'll bring him back. Tolu Smith, not familiar. Ryan Nembhard on 1.2. Yeah, Dallas will bring him back. Mo Gay, 1.2 for Chicago. Yep, probably bring him back on that. Jameer Young, not familiar. Max Shugler, not familiar. Bez Bang, not familiar. Malachi Smith, not familiar. Hayden Gray, not familiar. We ran through all the free agents. I didn't even intend to do this, but that's everybody. Literally everybody. So, yeah, man, as I said, I'm not overly excited about this crop of free agents. Not based on what we need, not realistic targets that we can get. I don't think that this looks that great for us Laker fans, but what I do believe is that I feel better about that list than I felt coming into it. I will say that. Now that I've had a chance to go over that list in its entirety with you all, there's a little more there than I thought, but it didn't really change my overall opinion. So, yeah, man, that's really what it is. I just wanted to go over these free agents now that we're officially in the offseason. I wanted everybody to know exactly what is there so that we can start targeting what we think will help us be a better team. And if we're not thinking like that, then we're not doing our part, man. That's really what it comes down to. I understand that the Lakers had what they have? They had a press conference this morning. I've yet to see it. But one of the things that I heard was that we were going to try to bring in an assistant general manager for Rob Pelinka, which is, I think, a very good thing. Maybe even two of them, which I think is an excellent expanding our front office. That's what selling the team is all about. Bringing in more of a budget to do stuff like that. So I think that's huge for us. I'm really happy about that. Very, very, very happy the Lakers are doing that. And what else, man? That's pretty much it, man. We got to get better. We got to get deeper. We know that. We got to get deeper as a basketball team. So that's pretty much what I got to say, man. I'm going to sit down and eat. And, I hope you guys are ready for a good off season. Oh, one more thing. I understand that Luka does not want Austin off the team, so we just got to find a way to make do. I'm not going to be pushing Austin off the team if Luka don't want him gone. No, I'm not doing that. Bringing in Giannis and then Luka's unhappy? No, I'm not doing that. Got to find another way, y'all. I'm not going to do anything to make Luka unhappy if I'm the Lakers organization. Absolutely not. But I will tell Luka, hey, look, man, I don't think it's likely that we're going to be able to build something that can win with all two. I will tell him that. I don't think so. I think it's going to be nearly impossible to get the pieces that mask both of your deficiencies simultaneously. So that's what I'll say to that. Anyway, good season, Lakers. I thank the unit that we had. Whether you guys come back or not, y'all made this a really good season for us. And we appreciate how you finished and fought hard. You may have gotten swept, but you didn't go out like punks in the end. And, let's have a great offseason, man. Everybody stay safe. Once again, condolences to the Clark family. My name is BDL44. I thank you all for watching. I'm out.